For nearly 2 decades now, the University of Cape Town has been the pride of South Africa's academia, the continent's highest ranking research university. But today, in the midst of a most volatile situation in the Middle East and particularly geopolitical situation with Western powers such as the United States of America, this very institution's leadership stands accused of openly suppressing academic freedom and even siding with Islamic terrorism. You see, at the center of this new political storm around the university's governing body and its chairman, Norman Arendse, is a court case in which the governing body, as well as Arendse, is taken to court over its pro-Hamas, pro-Iran stance, academic freedom, and the very future of UCT itself, for that matter. For roughly 2 decades now, the University of Cape Town has been Africa's highest ranked university across most major global ranking systems. In the latest Times Higher Education World University Rankings, for example, UCT ranks 164th globally, which places it roughly in the top 10% of universities worldwide. Yet, this university is now under fire for a number of resolutions passed by its council under the leadership of Norman Arendse, who has served as its chairman since June 2023. Arendse, who sits at the head of the university's highest governing body, which is responsible for its overall strategy and governance, financial oversight, appointment of senior leadership, and ensuring the university complies with national higher education laws. But over the past year and a half, Arendse's tenure has been marred by a series of extremely serious criminal allegations, stretching from bullying to donor fallout to, believe it or not, even geopolitical controversies. Irregularities under Arendse have become such a major issue that at the meeting of the UCT Council last year, the university's own media spokesman requested to be relieved from all duties, citing that Arendse had made it virtually impossible for him to do his job due to Arendse's dishonesty. Furthermore, the interim registrar of the university also indicated that she would not work with the council in the future because of the behavior of Arendse specifically. Stay tuned, because in today's video, we will expose how all of this culminated in South Africa's leading academic institution, which is now even facing allegations of siding with terrorist organizations such as Hamas. Norman Arendse has had a truly multifaceted career. He originally became known as a commercial advocate at the Cape Bar, where he specialized in competition law, corporate law, and regulatory matters. During this time, he litigated frequently on issues involving soccer, rugby, and cricket, and participated in a number of commissions and sports-regulated legal matters, particularly with regards to the quota system. Because of his experience in legal matters relating to the sports industry, he was elected president of the Western Province Cricket Association and in 2007 even president of the Cricket South Africa organization. During his tenure at the helm of Cricket South Africa, he tried to influence and even block squad selections for national teams, which he considered did not meet the necessary transformation criteria. This essentially means teams did not, in Arendse's opinion, have enough black players or had too many white players selected on merit, and more black people need to be pushed into the team via the quota system. When Mickey Arthur served as national cricket head coach, for example, Arendse even tried to remove him, the head coach, from his own team selection panel because he felt that not enough black players were selected. Now, after Arendse finished his brief little term as president of Cricket South Africa in 2008, less than a year later, he largely returned to his legal career and governance roles. While he remained involved in sports and institutional leadership, Arendse continued to practice as a senior counsel at the Cape Bar and was regularly involved in major cases in the Western Cape Province. Eventually, he became involved in the governance of the University of Cape Town, where in 2016 he was elected by the Convocation, which is the body of university graduates and certain academic staff, to the university's council, its highest governing body. He had served on the university's highest governing body for nearly a decade and the last 2.5 years as the chairman of the governing body. But Arendse's tenure at the head of the UCT Council has been far from smooth sailing. In fact, according to a report from the Cape Independent, 2 of the council members serving with Arendse have described under oath that under Arendse a culture of secrecy and intimidation has become prevalent. Furthermore, several of Arendse's sworn affidavits have been called into question by parties involved, claiming that Arendse knowingly misrepresented basic facts under oath. Now, a court case filed against Arendse and the governing body as a counsel by the UCT history professor Adam Mendelsohn, who has also served as director of UCT's Kaplan Center for Jewish Studies, alleges that Arendse effectively adopted a series of policy positions in 2024 without proper consultation and in the process undermined the university's reputation and academic standing. Mendelsohn is claiming that these resolutions are unlawful, unconstitutional and therefore invalid. Several other Jewish philanthropic organizations that support UCT programs reportedly warned that the council resolutions could jeopardize the long-standing donor relationship with the Jewish community in South Africa, and millions of rands in research and scholarship funding would be withdrawn, which is quite significant because as South Africa's leading research university, UCT relies heavily on international philanthropy to fund research centers and postgraduate scholarships. The dispute has already alarmed major international donors who fund scholarships and research centers at UCT, some of whom have warned that millions of rands in philanthropic funding will be withdrawn if the governance crisis continues. After initially challenging the resolutions, Mendelsohn had been temporarily suspended by Arendse, but a subsequent investigation cleared him of any wrongdoing. The lawsuit now being brought forward concerns 2 resolutions passed by the UCT Council on the 22nd of June 2024, around a year after Arendse assumed the role of chairman of the governing body. The first of these rejects the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism on the grounds that it conflates criticism of Israel and Zionism with anti-Semitism. The second resolution restricts collaboration with Israeli military-linked institutions on the part of UCT employees, stating that no one employed by UCT may, and I quote, ever enter into relations with or continue relations with any research group or network whose author affiliations are within the Israeli Defense Forces or the broader Israeli state or military establishment. Critics argue that this resolution infringes on the academic freedom of individual scholars, damages the international research partnerships, of which they had many in Israel, and could cause major funding losses. And Professor Adam Mendelsohn is asking the Western Cape High Court to declare the 2 resolutions unlawful, unconstitutional and invalid, and set them aside through judicial review. What is interesting to me within this whole debacle is the fact that UCT, the University of Cape Town, had been a long-standing leftist university, attacking people on their racial grounds or on racial grounds, and plainly took an anti-white stance for maybe the last 40 years. But interestingly, now that they are taking an anti-Israel stance, well, they are really feeling the fire from their donors. The consequences of this for the University of Cape Town, as not only South Africa's, but the entire continent of Africa's highest ranked university, could be that it becomes increasingly isolated from international research networks, particularly in the West, which would completely jeopardize joint grants and collaborations with universities in countries aligned with the West or aligned with Israel. Furthermore, as many critics point out, a university governing council should not have the right to dictate which foreign researchers its scholars may collaborate with, as this constitutes a gross violation of academic freedom. If such restrictions become normalized, it would represent a profound erosion of academic freedom within the institution, setting a precedent that could allow political considerations to override the independence of scholars and the open exchange of ideas that universities depend on to further their research. In a recent video, we highlighted how Sangoma witchcraft is also now taught as an academic subject at some South African universities. Check out this ridiculous report by clicking on this link appearing on your screen right now. You will have quite a laugh. And do remember that only with your investment are we able to do such well-researched videos every single day. So please do consider becoming paying members by following the easy steps on the banner underneath me. Goodbye and God bless.